Hello and welcome to another edition of Pump the Brakes. I'm the host, Eric Evans. Back again with me is Joe Vilardi. Today's episode, we are going to break down the World Series. I finally get to talk to somebody in person about this. That's very exciting. We'll do a little week 8 preview. Thursday Night Football begins tonight with the Ravens at our local Tampa Bay Buccaneers and our pick fives, which I finally had a winning record.
That makes one of us.
Yeah. All right. I want to jump right into this. This is obviously the main topic that I want to discuss. My Phillies are in the fucking World Series. I don't know if you listened to the Monday show. I'm obviously very excited about this.
A little bit.
And I like a part of me can't believe that this is happening, but another part of me can, because they just got so fucking hot at the perfect time. And they went through a little slump in the beginning of September. I was getting a little nervous. I was like, this is not the time to be flipping the switch off.
Right.
They're on fire, man. They're so fun.
It's wild because you don't see that in other sports, or at least it's rare that you're going to have a coach fired, looks like an absolute dumpster fire, and then you just heat up at the right time and, make it happen.
So one of the guys I work with, he was telling me about this. He's like, I really want to fire Girardi. I want to get rid of him. I want to move on. But when you fire, and this is, end of April, beginning of May, so 3 weeks before they even did it. But yeah, when have you ever seen a coach in any sport get fired and then that team do well? You're basically throwing in the towel,
right,
when you do that. So the fact that they even had the balls to do it, and then to go on this run, they were the 6th best team in baseball since Thompson took over.
Yeah, that's
unbelievable.
It's funny. I figured that would get brought up, and I was thinking about it. And this, you can't even put it in the same category, but I was thinking, I believe, didn't the Cavs fire David Blatt or whoever it was? And that's when Ty Lue took over. I don't know if that was the year they won the title or at least made it, but obviously that's a whole different, in the NBA, I mean, coaching is fairly irrelevant. But I was trying hard to actually think, because John Schneider kind of did a similar thing with the Blue Jays, at least got them to the playoffs, obviously not getting the World Series. But again, like you're saying, getting to the World Series, a whole different ballgame. You're never going to see that in the NFL. You're not going to see someone get fired mid-year and then make the playoffs, let alone
there's no way. If Hackett gets fired today, guess what Denver's not doing? They're definitely not making the playoffs. There's just no way. So they have announced, they as in the Phillies, Aaron Nola, not Zach Wheeler, is starting game 1. You think that is the right move?
I don't.
Somebody read it or tweeted a stat, and I don't remember who it was, but the difference between Wheeler on 4 days rest and 5 days rest is the difference between a 2.4 ERA and a 3.6 ERA.
Right. And he'll be on 4, correct? Or he will be on 4 now.
Yeah.
Well, so here's my thing, and I wrote it down a little bit. I absolutely respect an organization just trusting their guy. You know me, I'm a power pitching fanatic. Nola's kind of a 2000s, even 1990s breed. More so. I mean, he can be 92 to 95 sometimes.
Yeah, he's not going to blow you away with the fastball.
Right. And so, like I said, he's been their guy. So I respect the move. I personally, what I think is the key point here is, in a World Series, I think you kind of have to look at it. You're going game by game, and you're going to drain your bullpen if you have to. You're going to do whatever you have to do, but you're looking at game 7 to me, and I'm thinking of the San Francisco Giants. Madison Bumgarner obviously was the one. He was going to be game 1, game 5, and then they spin him around in game 7 in relief. I think your guy going game 1, if they're that close talent-wise, and I actually think Wheeler is a better pitcher. I think he has better stuff. I think he needs to go game 1, because if you get to a game 7 and you need him out of the pen, the day of rest is more important to him than it is a Nola type.
Yeah, 100%.
So, and they're each going to get 2 starts either way if you have a chance anyway. So you're not really, obviously everyone wants their 1 and 2 to go 2 and 0, and there you go. There's your 4 wins. But, you're preparing for a long series if you're at this point. So
I agree. And that has been the biggest, the counterpoint to throwing Nola game 1. I want Wheeler 1, 5, and 7 if need be. So that's the only logical explanation that can really deter you from saying Nola, because Nola's last regular season start was in Houston, and he fucking shredded them. Now, that game meant everything for the Phillies and nothing for the Astros. But and then he's been really lights out in the playoffs, except for that start against the Padres. This does give the Phillies an advantage in game 2. So you probably either way, Verlander is the better pitcher over Wheeler or Nola. You could argue Valdez, who had an awesome fucking year, is better than Nola. That's fine, but he's damn sure not better than Zach Wheeler.
Yeah, I think him and Nola are kind of the same pitcher, just from different sides.
Right.
They're interchangeable, really. Framber obviously just had consistency like we've never really seen before. He had 25 straight quality starts. I mean, and that's what you're looking for in the playoffs. I mean, you're not necessarily looking for 9 innings, but yeah, I think it's kind of unique seeing Nola versus Verlander. Especially I don't hate it on the road. I think maybe if you're starting in Philly, maybe you flip it. I think it could be a little different, just in the sense that you want to steal that home game against Verlander, and I think Wheeler's your best chance against that lineup. But on the road, for all you know, and we'll get into top 10 players and all that, Schwarber gets a hold of one, you're up 1-0 going into that bottom of the first minimum. Yeah. So you already have that lead, and I trust Nola with a lead against anyone. So, I think that could have maybe played into it. On the road, why not? We'll give our guy the ball instead of looking at just stuff. So,
yeah. You kind of segued into this. Do you want to just drop into your top 10 now?
Yeah. I'm down, and I put in parentheses here most important, because I think when it comes to the World Series, top 10 best. I'll be honest. I'm going to preface it with this. I don't have Kyle Tucker on this list, and I think he's obviously one of the top 10 players on these teams. I just don't think his success translate necessarily as much to the Stros. I think I saw he has 1 RBI this offseason, and he's hitting in the low 2s, something like that.
Yeah,
he's in the 5 hole. I think those guys at the top are just that much not more significant than him, but
sure. No, that's fair.
To their success, I mean, if Kyle Tucker hits 400 or 200, I don't think that's going to make or break them. So number 1, I think the obvious one has to be Bryce. And that was tough, honestly, 1 and 2 for me. But yeah, I think it's Bryce, because I think they're at a disadvantage talent-wise. I think they definitely have – I never believe in fate or anything like that, but they have something behind them right now that's more than talent. But, I mean, it's the thing. If Bryce, balls like he can ball, they're in the series. I flipped to Verlander because of the 2-0 potential, and just – I mean, he's arguably – you could probably have an argument for him being the best pitcher of all time. I think baseball best players of all time is the weirdest thing ever. You could argue so many different players, more so pitching wise than hitting. But God, man, some of the numbers he has when you actually look at what he's done in modern times, it's kind of wild. I follow them up 3-4 more Astros. I go Bregman and Valdez. And again, Valdez more so for the 2-0 potential. If he can win 2 starts,
sure.
I mean, you're halfway there. But Bregman's their guy in the playoffs more than Altuve's clutch. Don't get me wrong. I think Tucker's a better player than him personally. You have Jordan. I don't know. The playoff baseball in Houston, I think, revolves around Alex Bregman offensively. So,
yeah, he's like statistically the best third baseman of all time in the playoffs.
Exactly. So, he's going to do it. And he had a down year from an average standpoint, but obviously, he gets to the playoffs. He's fine. And then now I flip to the 2 Philly pitchers, and I list Wheeler at 5, Nola at 6. I think it's more important that Nola at least keeps them in game 1 and gives them a chance past Verlander if he is the starter. I don't know if that's actually been announced yet, but I imagine it'll be him. And then Wheeler, you're trying to steal game 2, whether you're down 1 or not. Obviously, you can take that 2-0 lead back home. You're good. But 1-0, that kind of flips to what Nola's trying to do. Just keep them in the game when you can get Pat into the Houston bullpen. And you did your job. I bounced to 7, and this is just an interesting one for me, but Lance McCullers, because he's notoriously been great in the playoffs. And he's probably pitching a game 4, which could be a pivotal game in the series. So, I mean, I think he's going to be – I thought about him for X Factor, but I need someone who's going to play a little more. And then I bounced my last 3, and I'm actually just seeing this now. I don't have Yordan Alvarez in this 10.
I was wondering what was taking you so long to say his name.
He's not there, and I'm looking at this. I mean, I got Altuve at 8 because he has to be the catalyst for him. I know he hasn't played well in the postseason, but I think he's going to need to, and he is, a clutch guy, obviously. Number 9, I have Schwarber because, again, at any given moment in these 2 games, well, it's only in the first inning, but he can give a 1-0 lead out the gate. And then number 10, Jeremy Pena right now is a big key to that team, both offensively and defensively. They're great defensively, but I saw he was 3rd in defensive WAR.
Yeah.
He's that guy that, not to get off topic from the World Series, he's a guy where if they can sign him to a long deal and buy out free agency years, arbitration, they could underpay him for so long and have like a year or two where they overpay him, but they're going to get so much value out of him. He's that guy that they'll be able to keep. He's not Correa, obviously. He's not in that top tier or maybe even second tier, but he's a player that can be a cornerstone for them without paying $20 million a year.
Yeah, I agree. But buddy, listen, like Correa is better. I get that, but they didn't really miss a beat with Pena. Like
no
for what, I guess as an outsider, I'm not locked into Houston's farm system, but you got this rookie shortstop. I was like, oh, what's this kid going to do? You're going to go from Correa to this, and I couldn't have been more impressed with him.
Oh yeah, he did more than they needed, and it's not even close. And now he's at batting 2-hole most of the playoffs. I mean, he was down in that 7-8 spot majority of the year. So now they're trusting him up top. I didn't even know that. I had to look back at the playoff stats because part of my reason to have him here was going to be that he flips the lineup over, and then I was like, oh god, he's actually been second most of the playoffs. Yeah. He's at the flip. So he's a good player though, man. That's kind of so. My breakdown, I guess I have 6 Astros and I got 4 Phillies. So
I'm actually shocked. Well, we'll get to this. So I just went. I like the little twist that you put on it because I just did straight the best players from either team, and I have Harper 1, and for all of the reasons you said, he's the hottest hitter on the planet, and they don't make the playoffs without him. I have Jordan number 2, right. And you could, if you want to say that he's 1, I won't argue with you. I think he's one of the 3 best hitters in baseball. Verlander 3, there's no doubt he's the best pitcher on either side, but I do have Wheeler 4.
Yeah.
Like you said, he's been struggling in the playoffs, but Kyle Tucker is he's so fucking good, man.
Yeah.
And I mean, just like that, he flips a switch and, he could be 3 on this list.
Right.
Bregman, Altuve, again, out with the way they've swept through the playoffs, and Tucker and Altuve have sucked.
Nothing.
That's fucking
nothing
scary.
At all. That's what's scary about them,
So
and then kind of just
scary.
shoving it to the baseball world, like cheating scandal. What signs? What we didn't really need them. I think that's what they're kind of saying.
That's insane. Fun fact: no team that has swept through the playoffs to the World Series has ever won the World Series.
Interesting, but honestly, not that crazy, I guess. That's tough to do. Obviously, you're not going to sweep,
right?
But even win it,
Yeah. Number 8, and this guy probably could and should be higher. JT Realmuto. It's the only significant advantage that the Phillies have on the diamond in this series is that catcher.
Yeah.
And then I got Nola and Schwarber.
Mm-hmm. No, I like that. I think it's a good. Honestly, I think I just misstepped with Jordan when I was looking at it. I think I got sucked too into the most important, but at the same time, obviously, it's kind of the 3-hole hitter on the best team in baseball right now statistically. So that should have been one.
I almost put Pena at 10 instead of Schwarber.
Yeah.
All right. X factor. If you want to go both teams, or if you just want one team, however you want to do it.
Let's go teams. I mean, my Phillies won, and again, it's just because of when I look at an X factor, I'm like the value that they bring to the team specifically, and I think it has to be Schwarber.
Okay.
When you're the underdog, and like I said, it's going to be however many games they play, it's going to be that many at bats. That first at bat every game for them.
Yeah.
He has the ability to hit 3 leadoff home runs in the World Series, and you're getting off to a 1-0 start if you're on the road. Or say you let up a run or 2 in the first, you're cutting into that lead, and you're getting the crowd right back into it.
Buddy, can you imagine Game 3, first pitch at home, Schwarber goes yard? That place is going to explode.
That's what's unique about it, especially with your fan base, and every fan base in the playoffs is going off with a home run, but you guys could be down 3-0 and after top 1, and he just cuts into it with that 1, and your fans are flipping that
right back in it, dude.
All you're down 2 runs.
Yeah, that's what happened in the Padres game.
Yeah.
I mean,
so that's where I think he's got to be it for me. I was gonna mention just the bullpen in general because you're pitching if Wheeler and Nola in their games are going to get you 6-7.
Yeah.
Ranger Suarez, he's going to be hit or miss. I don't think you know what you're going to get with him against the Astros. I think he's pretty consistent, but the bullpen obviously that's going to be who knows what you're getting out of them. I love Eflin actually in the back of the pen. I think it's an interesting move. I know he only got his first save very late in the year, but I think it's just he has great stuff. I always liked him as a starter. So, I mean,
he saved the playoff clincher. First save of his career was to clinch the playoffs.
Yeah, so I mean, they got him, Dominguez, Alvarado, phenomenal fucking form.
Alvarado, since he's been called back up in AAA, he's been lights out.
I mean, you have your weapons. I mean, they're going to have to throw a lot. If you guys win the World Series, they're probably throwing in 4 games. But, if it's an inning apiece, like I say, you got Nolan Wheeler hopefully sucking up 6 and 7 if you go that far in 2 games. So, I think it's possible. But yeah, I would say Schwarber for the Phillies for me.
Yeah, no, I like that. And one of the reasons why Schwarber was on my short list is the same reason why I'm picking Bryson Stott. They have, as in the Astros, have 0 lefties in the bullpen. So Schwarber, Stott, Harper, like it's going to come late in the game and they can't go lefty on lefty. And because of that is exactly why Rob Thompson needs to flip Harper and Hoskins. I know Hoskins has been on fucking fire, but I need Harper in the 2-hole to get those few extra at-bats in this series.
Right.
And it doesn't matter if they're going Schwarber and then Harper because they have no lefties in the pen. Right. So you don't need to split them up. So please, for the love of God, hit Harper second. But yeah, Stott, young guy, lefty. Again, his defense in the infield is very pivotal for a team that doesn't really catch the ball very well.
Yeah.
I just think there's going to be a moment late in the game, and it's going to be advantage Stott, and he's going to need to take advantage of those opportunities if they want to win, because they're just so much deeper and better than the Phillies. So they need these lower lineup guys to come through.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you hit that pretty well. You touched on the defensive thing too. Stott at short, obviously. Baum's been phenomenal at third. I mean, I feel like your guys
nowhere, man.
in the outfield, your guys' deficiencies, and at first base with Hoskins, he can be,
it's hard.
An event when he gets a pick. So that's something that I hope. I hate watching baseball games that come down to an error, but it tends to happen in the playoffs a lot. So, I really don't want this series to do it because, I mean, you said, the talent gap, it's definitely there. I don't think it's as big as it seems. I mean, obviously you're not getting the Dodgers, Astros. When you look at the, Padres top to bottom, I don't think saying that they're fairly on par with the Phillies is out of the realm. I mean, Machado Soto.
Padres?
Yeah, when you're looking
they're better. On paper, yeah.
I don't think it's that much. I think the Phillies have a lot more talent than people realize. That's the thing. I mean, depending on how you value a JT, I mean, Schwarber and Reese, just from a home runs perspective, you're going to get 230, 240, 250 out of them. But how many guys are going to drop what they do over the fence? I mean, so you little give and little take. I think the Phillies are a little more talented offensively than people give them credit for. But you're definitely touching on it. I mean, obviously, if they can keep up defensively, that's going to close the gap more than I think they're going to keep up offensively. I don't see the Astros just outscoring them by a ton. So.
Getting so excited, dude. I cannot fucking wait for tomorrow. We're almost 24 hours. I cannot. I'm going to be
start Friday night starter. I couldn't tell you what day the World Series started on last year, but it seems amazing that it's on a Friday.
Oh my God, dude. I can't wait. And I'm sure you saw it, the way that this schedule works. So
is the only day off the Thursday night?
No, they're off Sunday.
Okay.
So it's
Saturday, so it is Sunday. 2 off, 3 off, 2 off.
Yeah, or Friday, Saturday. And then Eagles play Sunday. Then we got Phillies Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday playing Houston, the Astros. And then the next Thursday night game is Eagles-Texans in Houston.
That's insane.
I know. I am very nervous. And before we get to Houston's X Factors, I'm going to slide this in. I looked like a week and a half ago, and I realized if the Phillies make it and it gets to a Game 7, it's the same fucking day as LSU Bama.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I'm going to the game.
Yeah, I mean.
What am I going to do? And then what if the Phillies win? I got to go right from BR to Philly to a parade.
Yeah, I was going to say, they're always at night, LSU Bama, right? That's going to be
they already announced that.
That's going to be at 9 o'clock Eastern, or no, 8 o'clock Eastern, so I guess 7 o'clock. Yeah.
All right. Anyway, we digress. X Factors for Houston. Go.
I've got Pena. I mean, he's just on fire. I think he's hitting like 353, 354 in the playoffs. And like I said, defensively, he brings them all together. They're already a good defensive team, but something about him right now with Altuve down, with Tucker down. I mean, obviously, if those two pick it up, it could be a 5-game series at best. If, they're hitting on all cylinders, but with the way things have been playing out, I think Pena needs to have a good series for them to really, come in and just, 6-game type win.
Yeah,
so
that was my guy too. So I will go a different direction, and off the top of the head, I'll go Valdez. You got the game 2 start. You're literally like the only lefty, so you're going to be the one that has to. Yeah, you're the one that has to navigate Schwarber, Stott, Harper, and then basically guaranteed 2 starts if this plays out the way that everybody thinks it's going to. So yeah, you're the lefty, you got to neutralize the lefties. And, now I don't want to say that the Astros are going to be a dog, but that line is going to be a lot closer with Wheeler instead of Nola pitching. So I wouldn't be shocked if it's, basically a pick 'em.
It'll be close. I think they'll give the Astros that.
Yeah, they're at home.
But
probably
back to Philly, I think that's the game you're definitely favored in. If that, game 5, I guess, would be Nolan Verlander again. I mean, at home, even, Christian Javier in game 3, if he's going against Suarez, I mean, that's going to be about a pick 'em, if not on Suarez. I mean, Javier's had some moments this year, but he's inconsistent. That's the thing. So, I mean, I don't know.
I mean, once we get 3, 4, 5 in these rotations, it's going to be
interesting. I don't think, I think a lot of people, I mean, what are the number, the Astros for the series? Are they 2 and change, did I see? Or is it less than that?
What do you mean for the series? Oh, no, it's down to like 180.
Oh, okay. All right. No, so it's So 3, 4, 5 is going to be interesting because even 5. I mean, I know you got Verlander, but that it wouldn't surprise me. Philly has,
man, that crowd's different, dude. It's just different.
It's just Philly, man. Y'all are just nutcases.
You can't convince me there's another city that's just better. Oh, time to record the podcast. All right, so who you got and how many games?
I got to be realistic just with what I think. I got Astros, but I have in 7. I think this is a closer matchup than people realize, whether it's talent, whether it's the atmosphere in Philly keeping them in it. I think the Astros probably go 3-1 at home, and the Phillies go 2-1 at Citizens.
Yeah. I have a 31-1 World Series ticket.
Nice.
And, not a lot of money, but enough to get me excited.
Yeah, you don't need much on 31 to have a field.
I'm not hedging. I'm taking the Phillies in 6.
I don't blame you. There's not much to hedge at that point,
And it's hard to say that you're not being a homer when you're picking your team to win a World Series. But this could be any team. This is like the Braves last year, man, and the Nationals a couple years ago. Like, you could just tell. You could just fucking tell.
Yeah.
And they're only better behind the plate unless you think Harper is much better as a DH than Jordan, which I don't. Like, they have no advantage. They should get swept. The Astros are that fucking good. But they're not losing in Philly. They're just not.
I think I'm that guy that can never pick either like a sweep or let alone just they're going to win all their home games. They're going to win all their home games. But that's why, like I said, that's just playoff baseball. I'm with you. Like, it's rare you see a sweep. I don't know the last World Series sweep. Maybe Sox Rockies that one year back in the 2000s. I don't even know. So yeah, it's just a different game because every game, every inning, let alone, I mean,
every fucking pitch, bro. I'm going to be locked in every pitch.
Yeah, it's just, it's funny because you look at other sports like football. Obviously, that's one of the bigger ones we're into, and people use the terminology. If they played that game 10 times, so and so would win 8 out of 10, and it's like they can play 7 times in this sport. So you never have that debate. And yeah, this is just one where the home fields. Houston's got a good home field too. Don't get me wrong, but like you're saying, it's not Philly, and that's where I think the talent gap where I see it. I think the home field flips it to the Phillies being favored in, I think, at least 2 of those games, if not 3.
Yeah, no, for sure. So I have Phillies in 6, and I said that they're not losing at home. So for the record, when they're down 0-2, just remember I said they're pulling off 4 in a row.
I like it.
So
seen it before. I mean,
oh, I can't wait till Friday. Just
that's you're living the dream right now. You're like Tampa fans with the Bucks and Lightning the last couple of years. I mean, you got it hit on all cylinders. I mean, Sixers started all.
Shout out to the 1-4 Sixers. Shout out
1-4 now. Ooh.
Yeah, it's bad. It's almost as bad as the 3-4 Bucks. What's going on, dude? But I know we're just another week. We said we're not going to get nervous, and we're not nervous. But first of all, you have to be nervous. And how are they favored in this game?
That's the shock to me. And I know it's actually flipped throughout the week. At one point, the Ravens were up as high as +1, I believe, or -1. Talking about the Bucks,
-2.
Yeah, I have -2 right now. I see the 2.5 on the screen, which I saw earlier. Here's my thing, and this is trying not to be the fan of me talking. I'm just going to try to be logical here. It's tough for me to worry about a team in first place when I know what the other 3 teams are in the division. So that's from a long-term standpoint. I'm still very confident in them making the playoffs. I don't know what it's going to be when they make it, but I'm not really worried about that yet. But bigger perspective, it's like, what does this do to their confidence? And something I was thinking about on my ride home before doing this, there's a lot of differences between what the Bucs have done and built to obviously what the Patriots did for 20 years, where Tom Brady was a lot of their free agents, a lot of their additions, whether via trade, whatever it was, they were picking up a lot of guys that were still closer to their prime than what the Bucs have gotten here on the back end. I mean, you got a Fournette who's still fairly in his prime.
Yeah.
Ndamukong Suh, the Super Bowl year, I mean, he did start for them, but he was more of a 60% snap guy, if that. Even this year, I mean, yeah, Julio would be great if he wasn't, injured. I think Logan Ryan, if he was not injured, he could have been a bigger part of the defense, but the secondary hasn't been much of the problem. A lot of the Bucs are homegrown more than people realize. And they're homegrown in success. And I think a lot of it may just be wearing on some of those younger guys because not everybody's an Evans who sat through all those losing years, a Levante David. A lot of these young guys that they've pieced together maybe saw a year or two down before Brady, and they've just been riding high ever since. And I think it's more of just a collective thing where you get fatigued when you're talked about that much. And it's not to be an excuse, but I think that's more than the execution and the X's and O's. The team mentally kind of looks out of it more so than anything. And, we saw the defense early in the year looked phenomenal. I've told you, Devin White's the worst coverage linebacker in the league, which makes no sense because he might be the most athletic outside of Micah Parsons or Michael Parsons, however you say it.
Right.
It's amazing to me that he does not know how to cover a tight end or a running back out of the backfield. And that's a huge part of that offense. I mean, they can dial up on him and they can flip a game very quickly. From a secondary standpoint, I don't see much. I mean, Zion McCollum got torched by P.J. Walker, but P.J. Walker is a better NFL quarterback than Zion McCollum is cornerback. So I'm not really looking too much into that. And offensively, I think the play calling, I think it can flip a lot easier than Leftwich is making it. They're passing the ball a lot more than people realize, even on first down. I saw some of the numbers. But it just I think they need to keep getting in a tempo and letting Tom run the show. I don't think Leftwich wants to do it. But, again, it's like I said on the last episode. I mean, he came out of retirement and he knows what he's doing. They shouldn't have given Leftwich the keys to the offense and said drive. They should have given Tom the keys and let Byron ride shotgun. So I think having this mini bye coming up is going to be big, and then the real bye coming up after the Germany game is going to be huge. I think that's more when I would get nervous seeing, I'd take 1-1 in the next 2 games. I believe they have the Rams next before they go to Germany. I'll take 1-1 and the 4-5 record, honestly. I'm not that worried at that point. But you lose tonight, and there's, I think, a lot more pressure next week than there is now, and that's where you're facing a Rams team that's in the same kind of position. So you guys are both do or die at that point. But again, just being in first place, that's my kind of saving grace right now because you just got to win your division at this point. You're not going for a 1 seed. So
right, yeah. One of the things that you said is they just don't look like they're into it, like their confidence is out. And when Mike Evans came at his press game conference, said when he dropped that ball, the team was shot. Like, buddy, that's play 3.
Yeah, you got 58.5
minutes left. If that's the team's mentality, then they're fucking done.
Yeah, let alone you're not playing a Patrick Mahomes and doing that in the first quarter. You're playing a P.J. Walker and you're doing that in the first quarter and you check out.
Such a shitty mindset to have. And if that's your mindset, you have no shot. And And even if it is the mindset, you don't fucking say it. You lie. You don't say that publicly on camera. Like that makes me fucking nervous.
They had a different swag last year, and a lot of the the majority of the snaps returned. I mean, I get the offensive line. They got to get through that. It's not coming back. You're not getting Marpet, Jensen may play in December. But that's kind of where I was going with those younger guys. They saw that they spiked. I mean, that's you go from 7-9, which could have been a lot worse, to winning the Super Bowl, to another year where you may be 2 plays away from the Super Bowl. Now your backs are kind of against the wall. You're seeing adversity for the first time, really.
Yeah, literally.
Even in year one, they were they're still putting it together. By the time they get to 7-5, they're in the bye, and then they went out.
Took off.
Last year, a lot of success, a lot of offensive success, different team. But this year, it's like they're hitting adversity, and they have no clue how to respond. So,
and now you have, I know Todd Bowles has coached before, but he's not Bruce Arians.
He reminds me of I'm thinking of watching the U when Larry Coker comes in, and they're just like, he didn't really do much. He was just kind of there on the sideline. He didn't really coach that team. I don't know what Todd Bowles is coaching. I don't think he's even coaching the defense. They just, unless the talent's fallen off and the production's fallen off that much, the defense just doesn't look right. I mean, the rushing defense in the middle of the pack right now, I think they might be 17 or 18 in yards allowed. Even before he got there, a lot of it was a product of teams could pass all over them, so they didn't run the ball. But they have notoriously been a top 5 run defense, regardless of who they have there.
Yeah,
you're letting up 180 yards to be at a 60-yard run to Foreman, and that's a big chunk of it. But I mean, I don't know what it is. I think that's the worst part. I don't think I can win at one thing and say if we flip this, we flip a lot of games.
Yeah, I don't know. And I think with the struggles, especially they're having defensively, like Lamar's going to have a field day on the ground. Yeah. I think he's going to have a field day on the ground.
To touch on that, this is what I'm hoping tonight. Don't let Devin White cover anybody and let him spy Lamar. Maybe give him a game to kind of get back into it and not worry about coverage.
Yeah.
Focus on the quarterback. If he moves,
if you're going to tell Devin White, hey, you're locking up Mark Andrews all game.
Yeah, that's gonna be a 3 touchdown, 150. But I'll take some overs on him. But
now again, I know you said you're not nervous, mainly because of the division they're playing in. They're going to make the playoffs. I get that. It's got to be the worst division in football now. If it's not the AFC South, like the football in the South in the NFL is putrid. I don't even know where I was going with that. Oh. Obviously, this is a team that's supposed to represent the NFC in the Super Bowl. Like the way they're playing now, you can't still feel that way, can you?
No, not at all. I know I told you on the last pod I'm big on the Eagles now. I just think they have so much clicking. That Quinn edition I think is going to be a lot bigger than people realize. I would put them as the clear-cut favorite, and I still like the Niners. I know the debacle they had last week, but again, that's what you get with Jimmy G. I mean, you can be as talented as you want. If your quarterback is what he is, the days that he's off, the team's going to drop off a lot more than if Brady had a bad game with that talent and they could hang in it as they have in a couple of years past.
Yeah, and by the way, you're facing Mahomes and the Chiefs, so
exactly.
They'd have an off day.
Yeah, so I'm still. I mean, to be honest with you, I'm still not sold on the Vikings. At least come. Big time Kirk Cousins. There's just something about him. I'm not really concerned about him. They could win out and be 16-1. I'm really not that concerned about them in the playoffs. I hate saying it. But yeah, I mean, what's in their favor, I mean, they're the 4 seed right now. I believe I saw they would be playing the Giants if the season ended today. That's a tough matchup, obviously, but they're at home. I mean, what's ahead of them? The Seahawks, the Vikings, the Eagles. Don't get me wrong, obviously, phenomenal talent throughout there, but there's one quarterback in that group that I'm worried about in the playoffs, and it's Jalen Hurts. And it's not even an experience thing. He's just a different dynamic than anybody else in the league, even Lamar Jackson, because I think he's got a little more accuracy than him and a little more touch. So Jalen, the more that they win early on, the more they can, I think, open up the playbook leading up to the end of the year and try to even – because I don't think their offense is anything complex right now. He runs the ball so much, and they have the read option. Sanders looks great. Could you imagine if they built even more of a passing game into that offense? I mean, Jesus, they would be – they're already looking unreal.
I know. I just wanted you to talk about them. And
they're good, man. And you know, I like to rip and troll a little bit, but I got nothing against the Eagles right now.
No, they're good. Yeah, I don't think there's a question that the Bucs will make the playoffs, but the run that I guess we all expected, you know, that doesn't look like it's coming.
Yeah, I'd be curious after that bye if there's any Robbie G rumors. Not necessarily that he even wants it, Robbie G, man.
Oh boy,
just not even that he wants to play, but Tommy just hits him up and he says, "I need you," and you're getting your ass down to Tampa. He's the player that could I think change that offense a little bit. Cade Otton's actually looked really good for a rookie.
Yeah, he hasn't looked bad at all.
Still makes a lot of mistakes. I mean, it's just not Gronk. It could be a shell of Gronk, and he's been a shell of what he's been in the last couple of years. I feel like. It's
more about, and that's really what Julio was supposed to do. Julio was supposed to take that Gronk role, just draw attention.
Yeah. I mean, he looked great in game one. That reverse that he ran, and obviously that dime that Tommy threw to him, that 50-yarder through the air, whatever it was. I mean, he looked it, and then there goes the knee, and you're like, oh, I've seen this before.
Here we go again.
This has been the last 4 years with him. So, who knows? So, like I said, it really is. I mean this genuinely. Get healthy come January, get into the dance, and they won 3 road games when they won it the last time. I'm not worried about playing on the road in the NFL, not in the NFC at least. I mean,
Brady, I
think it's a little different if you got to go through a Buffalo and a Kansas City, which some team may have to do if they're 1-2. That's a whole different ball game. But Lambeau Field, I mean, we've seen a lot of quarterbacks with success in the playoffs there, which is kind of a shocker. I mean, Eli Manning's won there. Obviously, Tommy's won there now.
Yep.
Not really too worried about Lambeau, and I can't think of another. Philly. Don't get me wrong. But in the NFL, I think obviously Philly in baseball is a little more of a home field advantage than even the Link. So,
yeah, that's debatable. Well, it's only because all football crowds are rowdy.
Yeah, they are. That's the thing. There's not
Philly in baseball.
Much variation in the NFL. That's the thing. There really isn't to me.
No, that's fair.
So,
all right, let's do this backroads read, and then we will get on to all of the crappy games remaining in the NFL. Today's episode is brought to you by the premier clothing brand choice for any outdoor enthusiast, Backroads Apparel. Whether you chase the migration, live life at full draw, or just enjoy going to the camp to crack cold ones with friends and family, Backroads has a design that fits your lifestyle. Represent the brand that prides themselves on being authentic and original. Head over to backroadsapparel.com and grab your gear today. Be sure to use promo code PTB during checkout to receive 10% off of your entire order. Again, that's backroadsapparel.com, promo code PTB. Okay.
I'm really good at these pit stops, by the way.
Live commercial break. I had to get some damn water. All I had left was a mango neutral. I'm not drinking that shit.
You know what port of water to have since I'm getting ready to roll out to the game, and I haven't taken a sip of it yet.
All right. So it is week 8. There's not a good game on the slate, I don't think. I didn't like one game. Not one game caught my eye. I said, oh, I can't wait to watch that game.
I like one. I don't agree with that.
What are you looking forward to watch?
Give me my 2 of my surprise teams, baby, at 4:25. Give me the Giants at the Seattle Seahawks. I'm sorry. I'm so into watching that game. Really? I don't think I want to bet on it, even though it is mixed into my pick 5. I just want to watch Danny Dimes and Geno Smith just air it out over in Seattle.
Danny Dimes airing it out.
There's just something about that game that's going to be the best game of the week to me. I mean,
do you know what game has the highest total? This blew me away.
Is anyone above 50 this week?
Yep. 1.
It's not. I was going to say Raiders Saints, but they're 49.5 at last check. Here, I'm not going to look at line. I'm just going to look at I have the schedule here. I'm not trying to cheat, but I don't think it was Arizona, Minnesota either. I think they were 49.5. Oh, Miami, Detroit?
Yeah, what in the fuck?
I mean, Miami.
The only total. I can't stop drinking this water. I'm so thirsty.
Miami doesn't really have a defense, I guess. I mean, obviously they were going against Kenny Two Gloves, but
yeah,
I could see that game being a little exciting, especially if the Dolphins get out to an early jump and Detroit's abandoning. I mean, they don't run the ball anyway, but if I was going to bet an over, I'd probably like that. I like a lot of unders this week. I know that.
See, I like that under. While you're looking at that, what are your thoughts on Geno so far? Because if you just told me the quarterback for Seattle, and you think it's Russell Wilson, has those numbers, and the quarterback for Denver has those numbers, like, oh yeah, the guy in Seattle, that's an MVP candidate. But he's Smith, nobody's gonna say that out loud.
So this is the unique part about it. I don't know what his percentage is at now. What's he still, like 73, give or take? I can pull that up.
Oh, he must have had an awful. No, it can't be that low. It was like 71.1.
Well, no, I said I'm sorry. I said I thought he was at 73, to be honest. So he's at 73.5. This is what I see. He's doing what he did in college. I mean, this is what he did at West Virginia. He just slung it. He's a big guy, strong arm. I mean, Metcalf and Lockett, they're not going to get talked about in the top 2 receivers of the league. Maybe they did with Russ, but it's funny. Like, you lose your quarterback, and it's like, oh, we're not a top 5 duo anymore. Right. And obviously, DK's maybe out for a couple weeks, but I mean, he's just getting asked to drop back and get rid of the ball and find someone that's open. And he's doing a great job of it. Kenneth Walker looks like a damn stud. I mean, they've lost Rashad Penny, and that might have been one of the best things that happened to him. I mean, Geno's just, I don't want to say if he has a different – I hate when people say that. If he had a different coach and this and that, he could have, we could rewrite history. Where we're at now, he's a guy to me, and it could be a little overzealous, but again, we're 7 games into the season. Is he a guy that could look almost like an Alex Smith type, revelation?
Tannehill did it.
The end of his career, maybe he puts together 4 or 5 years that he can be the Seahawks guy, save them money, let them build a team around him. And he's a playoff guy, and you're going week by week in the playoffs. Who knows? So
yeah, he's been, for the first couple of weeks, I kept saying, I was like, all right, he's not a good quarterback, but he's playing well. Like, right. I'm not saying he's good, but he's over, everybody's expectations. He's been playing well above and beyond. And now I'm starting to be like, okay, maybe is he good? Because this is 7 weeks in a row, and he's had one real stinker in there, but that it happens. The NFL is hard. You're not going to do it every week.
Right.
Like, yeah, I'm questioning if he wasn't a Jet, like, could this guy be like good?
I mean, he started off on the right path. He beat the Bucs in his debut, like 15-14. I remember Levante David, or not roughing the passer, but it was a personal foul, OB, when he was running out of bounds. I did see something. I believe their OC, his name is Shane Waldron is his name, something like that. If he steps up and gets some looks, some of these bad teams, as a head coach, maybe brings Geno with him, starts as a bridge, but who knows if it's a bad team and they have good picks.
Yeah, could be like
maybe you just stick with him for a few years and see what happens. I mean, like I said, unless you're drafting the Andrew Luck, God, I don't want to look at last year's draft class. They're god awful. Even Trevor doesn't look right still. But unless you're getting one of those can't miss guys, I mean, why throw all your chips in something like that if you can get Geno for 10 to 15 a year and build around him,
Yeah, that's better than trading for a Matt Ryan.
Oh God, yeah. You see the video of him talking about backing up with everyone playing ping pong in the background?
No.
Oh my God, you hear it. You don't see anything, but you just hear the pop, pop, and he's just talking about getting benched, and it's depressing, man. I was a Matt Ryan fan. Don't get me wrong. I thought he was a good quarterback. I mean,
he was for a long time. He was a great quarterback.
He's the one that's got to hang it up, man. He ain't it. You're getting benched for Sam Ehlinger, and I know a lot of it's the salary and the injury guarantee and all that, but yeah, I mean, you just got benched for a guy that should never see the field in the NFL. I mean,
there's no real storylines or anything that I want to talk about. You just want to get right into the gambling and the pick five because nothing else, like I said, this week sucks.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just looking back at it now. I don't see much of anything. I was going to say I think the Rams and the Niners, I guess, could be a good game in that division. But again, if the Seahawks win, they're just chilling in first place still. Yeah, I got nothing, to be honest. Actually, I'll give you something. I don't know if it's part of your pick, but what do you think of that Sunday night game, Green Bay at Buffalo? And I know what we saw Buffalo recently do to Pittsburgh. Not a good Pittsburgh team, but it's still the Steelers. And obviously they had the game we thought they would against the Chiefs. They're in it till the end. Have you ever seen Aaron Rodgers as an 11-point dog?
No, never.
That's weird to me, and I know Lazard could be out, so they're just decimated at receiver. But That just seems like a gimme line to me. I didn't put it in here, but I couldn't imagine giving arguably the second best quarterback of all time 11 points in a football game.
Yeah, I know. I've bet against Buffalo every week this year, and that's not in my pick 5, but I would. Listen, I'm going to ride these Rodgers. I'm going to ride the Brady bus until it crashes and explodes. So you're going to give me Rodgers and 11 points. I'm going to take it every fucking time.
There you go. Not to get back onto the Bucks, but I'll be worried about him missing the playoffs when Tom Brady misses the playoffs.
Yeah.
There's my thing.
And then when I'm wrong. So be it. Okay.
Yeah. But I guess that would be my one storyline. I just think that's insane to see. Like Aaron Rodgers.
Green Bay is bad.
Yeah, I had a big old money line parlay set up last week, and that was the one that got me.
That hurts. All right. Your pick 5s. Give me them.
All right, 2 and 3 in my one appearance on the show. I'm going to start off. I'll take the Vikes -3.5 against Arizona.
Got him.
Steelers Eagles. I actually like the under in that game because if there's any way for the Steelers to keep it close, they're going to have to limit the offense. And I know a lot of times coming off the bye, you see a lot of juice, a lot of pop.
Yep.
There's something about the Steelers defense. I feel like they just play with too much pride. I could see the Eagles still winning by 2 scores, but you're looking at, that kind of 27-13 type game, which is barely covering it. I got 43. But I could see that being a lower scoring game. Raiders.
Yeah, the rumor is any game that's got a double-digit spread, always bet the under.
I like it. Raiders and Saints. I had 49.5 yesterday. I can't imagine it's still there with the Dalton news, but I had the under in that game. And I think the Saints at home, the Raiders offense has not looked good this year. So I think that's actually probably my lock of the week.
I still have under 49.5 for the record.
Yeah, I think that's free money. And then my next 2, I'm going to kind of pair them together because I think a money line parlay there would be a nice value, similar to my USC Oak State that didn't cash, but it had that potential there. Give me the Commanders. I just like Taylor Heineke over fucking Sam Ellinger. And give me the Giants at Seattle until I have a reason not to bet them with 3 points. And again, I like the money line with both of those, especially no DK, and that hasn't changed from what I've seen. So, Geno can sling it, but now you're going to Tyler Lockett and Dwayne Eskridge, Will Dissly.
Marquise Goodwin, baby. He caught 2 touchdowns last week.
Really? Did he?
Yeah, one of my favorites.
Oh, man. He can fly still. But, yeah, I'll take those 2. Go a little money line parlay. You're probably getting 3-1, if not more. So
that's only 4.
No, Vikings -3.5. Steelers, Eagles under. Raiders
and the Eagles.
Under.
I missed that.
Raiders 3, Giants 3. And then here, actually, I'll just give my bonus since we're a Thursday podcast. Thursday night football. Give me the Utah Utes -7 at Washington State. Came across a stat, and I wish I had it in front of me because I don't know if it was against the spread or straight up. But with a 7, I'm not that worried about it. Utah 5-1 in their last 6 on Thursday. Wazoo 0-5 in their last 5 on Thursday. I think Utah's a really good team. They had that win against USC where I thought USC might have been back. Their only losses, close game against UCLA, game at Florida, West Coast team, first game of the year. Florida's trash, but game 1, I'm not that concerned about that loss, to be honest. So give me Utah for a tutty. I'll take them all day.
Okay. I'm going to start with tonight. I got the Ravens plus the points. That just, the way you would think, I don't know. The public has to be hammering the Bucks, so you go the other way. Fade the public.
I'd be curious to see what that handle is because this is just such a weird line to me because the biggest name out for the Ravens I believe I saw was Campbell on the D-line. I think Bateman is playing, so I don't know what it is. I'm honestly surprised by this line too. That's why I don't want to touch the game.
Yeah, it's weird. I'm going college. I got 2 college games, so from Thursday to Saturday. I'm taking over 61 in Kentucky, Tennessee. I just think
Tennessee's going to score 50. So
the offenses are so good, and I don't believe in either defense. And this is strictly out of spite. This pick 5 pick is out of spite, so don't bet it. But
I know where you're going.
Fucking Iowa is an 11-point favorite. No, I'm taking Northwestern. I can't tell you one thing about Northwestern except for their uniform colors, and it's a great journalism school. I don't care. Iowa is not beating anybody by 11 points.
What's the over-under there, like 35?
I didn't even look because I just saw 11. I said, fuck this. No.
Oh,
But whatever the under is, yes, I'm bet that too. That'll be my parlay. Northwestern probably will win outright. I hate them.
Is it at Iowa or at Northwestern?
At Iowa. They're favored by 11. So already.
They can barely score 11. That's the thing.
Huh?
They can barely put up 11 points.
I know.
So
there's no way they're going to win by double digits. Double digit, bet the under.
That's a good one. That's a good one. Yeah.
That is a lock. I'm not even going to put in the pick 5. All right, NFL. I like the Jets plus 2.5. I don't know what fucking Belichick is doing.
You said you had him at plus 2.5?
Yeah.
I don't think I have him on my site. Yeah, I think I got him.
Yeah, buddy, they're home dogs. I love them.
I got to refresh this. Maybe I did.
Probably my favorite NFL play of the week. If you have 2 quarterbacks, you have 0 quarterbacks. I don't know what they're planning on doing. You just took Jones. Is the difference at practice that big a deal where you're going to start Bailey Zappi?
Yeah, the Bill Belichick song and a dance gets a little old. I'm over it. I mean, just tell us who the hell your starting quarterback is at this point. And if you're not telling us who it is and it's not Tom Brady involved and you're just being that guy and wanting to make it, a pain in the ass, you don't even have confidence in Mac Jones, so I'm not going to.
Yeah, no. And then
I got 2.5 here.
I have the Vikings as well.
Yeah. Was that 5? Oh, yeah, you had the college game.
Yeah.
I'm going to be honest, and they're off the board right now, and I know we talked about this off air. I mean, if the Browns are still 3, they were 3.5 before, but they are off right now. I'll take them at 3 too. Let's throw that in as a bonus pick. I know a receiver is not a huge loss, but Tyler Boyd, I don't think he is what he is if Jamar Chase and T. Higgins aren't flanking him. So if you have to rely on him in your number 2, I'm not that impressed. I think the Browns can keep it close at home. I still like Joey B, but in Cleveland, I think they can keep that within 3.
Yeah, home dogs. Gotta love them. Where are you sitting tonight? You in the box?
No, sadly, no club. We got these seats from a guy we know through work, and that was the first thing I asked. I'm like, I didn't want to go, honestly. But I'm like, you don't get to see Lamar often, and I got to see Mahomes finally. So now it's like we're in that new nest, which is the south end zone, and they built it up like they do for the college national championship.
Yeah.
So honestly, great view. Don't get me wrong. I know the concessions are just a pain in the ass, so I'll just have to double fist it and try not. Cause I hate people. So
I've heard of worse issues to have.
Yeah, I'm just gonna miss more. It's more the bathroom than the concessions for me. I don't mind waiting in line for a beer. I hate waiting in line for the bathroom. It's like the worst feeling in the world. So, but again, they were free. Clubs are like minimum $250 right now, so not that interested in the game. So for free, let's do it.
Yeah, no, I thought I was going. I thought we were doing this podcast from a tailgate.
I was ready for that, man. My buddy that I'm going with, he has a meeting right now, and I told him I was probably just going to Uber over there. And I have another buddy that we work with. He has a pass, and they're going to be sitting near us. The owner of our company is going. He's sitting wherever he's sitting. So I was just going to Uber over there and then basically, obviously, get to you at some point. But I had a million places to go, and now I'm just vibing, man. I ain't too worried about it. I'm pretty.
This was way easier.
It was, and we'll definitely. What are we going to have if you're going to do the Monday mailbag? Let me see if I have.
I might. Well, Ham's on another vacation, but I guess that's.
Where is he?
He's in San Francisco. I think he fucking played Pebble Beach today or something.
All right, that's cool, but
that's the perks of being on the fucking hottest win streak I've ever seen gambling in my life.
Yeah, I was going to say I'm free Monday if you do a mailbag. I surprisingly don't have a meeting, so.
We might postpone. I mean, I could do an early one.
It wouldn't be a bad thing to just do a little quick recap of the week and then a quick World Series, first 2 game thing.
I know. See, but that's the thing. I might be up there. I don't know. I don't know. We'll have to see how the weekend goes. I definitely want to try and do something Sunday.
Okay. So I'll be around. I ain't do nothing since I got back.
We'll do something in the morning. We will, reflect on pick 5. If line changes, we get news. We could do prop bets and shit like that. Something like 20 minutes, something quick.
Yeah, I'd be down.
and hopefully the Phillies are up 2-0.
Yeah, I got some prop bets, man. Last night I did my first my hockey shots on goal prop bet parlay. I did McDavid plus, or I guess it's not plus. It's just McDavid over. I did 2.5. Stammer over 3.5. Hit that. So
nice.
Pushed out on adding Zibanejad on the Rangers. My brother's a big Ranger fan, so I just know he's their guy. I think he had like 40-something goals last year. Jesus. Whatever. So I still got like, I think 1.25 on it. So that's my new thing now that I can't do no runs in the first anymore. I'm not going to touch it in the World Series. So this is my one that's going to keep me busy. It's going to be just shot parlays. So
all right. Well, I guess we could do it tonight. I want this on record, and all of my friends know this. Primetime games, tight ends score the first touchdown. Like I don't know this stat for real, but it's got to be 70% of the time.
I'll look up who I would bet because it's not.
Mark Andrews is probably like plus 650.
No, give me Likely.
No, he don't play that much.
I don't care. Give me him on the what's he going to be? Let's see, first touchdown. If he's over 20-1, I'm taking him. Yeah, he's 25-1. I think that's just throw a little bit on there.
What's Andrews?
Andrews is 7, but I mean, Kate Otten is 16. That ain't too shabby.
I love it. Tight end, first touchdown. I have to figure out where I'm going tonight for this game, if I'm going anywhere, and we will be back Sunday. Don't forget, subscribe, rate, review, like the post, share the post, tell your friends. For JV, cheers.
Cheers, my friend. Anyone come